To quote the very wise Sir Elton John, "I used to be a rolling stone, you know, if a cause was right. But the times have changed, the less I say, the more my work gets done." Is anybody getting Zoom fatigue? I know I am. In fact, sometimes I feel like I'm just getting like camera fatigue, because it seems like all I'm doing any of these days is talking to people or talking to my camera, talking to myself, talking to my cat. You know, I miss those days when you're around people, like a lot of people, and feed off that energy. And I think sometimes that, you know, not everybody's working virtually, but there's a lot of people working virtually. And, you know, I've worked virtually almost my entire career. And there's times when it's really lonely, you know, and there's times that you're, you know, craving that attention. And now I see the whole world is kind of feeling the same way. But here's what I'm really finding is that as we're all doing this together, I think maybe our creativity is suffering. Now, when we first hit COVID lockdown, you saw all these people like out of the blue baking all this bread. And I had just started like a weight loss routine, so I couldn't eat bread. So it was really driving me crazy to see everybody's pictures on Pinterest and everything about their beautiful bread. But I started to think, you know, why are they baking? Well, baking because, you know, it makes you feel good, especially bread. It makes you feel kind of safe and warm. But, you know, over the last couple months, then you've seen other evolutions of this. You know, people being crazy about how they manicure their lawns, people who decided to make all kinds of masks to donate, people that are, you know, painting their houses, and they're rearranging things, and they're making their workspace, you know, enjoyable. So what do all these things have in common? They're creating spaces for us to be creative. So why is creativity important? Actually, I've had a couple great interviews with a now good friend of mine. Her name is Natalie Nixon, and she talks about creativity, and she talks about how important it is to nurture our creativity, to find this sense of childlike wonder and purpose. And, you know, going back, in fact, we just aired her episode last week from her brand new book. And thinking about how important it is to tap into our creativity and use it as something that guides us. So when I was out on my walk and found these lovely rocks that were painted on somebody's porch, and actually there were many more, I should have taken more pictures, it just made me smile, because it made me think, here's yet again somebody who is finding a way to release something within themselves in this world that may feel a little out of control. I know that in Philadelphia, and by the way, it was great to quote Elton John in his song, Philadelphia Freedom, just because, you know, I live in Philadelphia. But many months ago in Philadelphia, I remember my husband and I were out for a walk one day, and we walked by this house with these enormous, colorful balloons. And then we just kept walking by other houses with them. And they were everywhere. They were all kinds. Later we saw a news story on the woman who had just started this amazing balloon business, and then COVID hit. So then she's like, what do I do now? And somehow she got a story out there, and people said, we need this. We need to have balloons. Not only do we want to support your company, but we want the balloons. And over the next few months and throughout the summer, it was such a joy to walk by people's houses and see these colorful, you know, started out as rainbows, and then there are all kinds of other displays, and there are, you know, different greens, and, you know, then there are happy birthday balloons, and there are happy graduations, but all these giant colorful things that not only give us joy, but they release our creativity. So as we think about how stressful things might be, or how uncertain the future may be, I know there's one thing that we can control to help us boost our energy and to make sure that we are keeping our brains filled with joy and promise. And that is to tap into our own creativity. What is it for you? For me, it's gardening. I love my garden. I love to see where it grows and evolves, and we're nearing the end of the season. And that's okay too, because there's another time to deal with the earth and pull down the things that have lived through their purpose and to prepare for the next season. That's where my creativity lives and lies. I love to cook. I'm learning how to can, some things that I would have never done before, and all of them bring me immense joy. So I challenge you today for your motivation to think about what is the creativity inside of you, and what does it mean for your psyche to let it out and help you shock your potential.